What is wrong with you people? Why are you fighting with each other over policy and picayune nonsense and canceling each other instead of focusing on the broader purpose? Why not open the tent and make this a pro-democracy, pro-American party that believes in the system of America, and open the tent and bring everybody into the tent to defeat Trumpism? Why not do that? We can't do that. We're fighting with each other. We've got to go after each other. And when they send AOC and they send Bernie out on the road, and they're searching for like a more perfect form of socialism, Trump is laughing at them. Do you guys understand that? You may like Bernie and you may like AOC. They're not winning a general election at this moment in time in the American zeitgeist. That's my opinion. I'm an optimist. I'm too short to see the glass anything other than half full. So I'm chosen to be an optimist when I look at the glass. And so I will say to you guys that I believe that Trumpism is a personality cult. And I think Trumpism will have a diaspora once he's off the stage. And if you like him, I'll give you bad news. He's a decaying political asset. And by the midterms, he will be fairly ineffectual. And then the party will have a great civil war intellectually about where things are going. And there'll be MAGA people in the party, and there'll be non-MAGA people in the party. And I predict that there will be a reformation of that party. There will be some populist elements, but it will not look like Trumpism, because what Trump said yesterday from the Oval Office, I believe he said that America First, the policy and principles of America First are whatever I want. He said that directly from the Oval Office. There's no guiding principle to what they're doing. It's the whims of Donald Trump. And so therefore, that provides evidence that this is a personality cult. And when he departs, they won't even be able to figure out what it was he was doing. He calls it the weave, right? You ever hear him call it that? And so it's going to be very tough. You know, if you think J.D. Vance is his successor, you don't know Donald Trump. Okay, J.D. Vance is already halfway through the wood chipper. You remember that scene in Fargo where they put the guy in a wood chipper? Okay, J.D. Vance is already up to his knee. Okay, and he's like, man, I'm getting wood chipped here. I don't know what to do. Okay, and I can give you specific evidence of that because Trump kills everybody around him. Okay, if you're in Trump's perimeter, he's going to take you out. If you don't believe me, call Mike Pompeo or call Mike Pence or Nikki Haley if you don't believe me. Okay, and that's what he does to people. And so Vance, if you think Vance is a successor, he will not be. And so I think that's a big debate that's going to happen, and I think Trump is a decaying political asset. So if you don't like Trump, wait this guy out. Sometime late November of 2026, the whole game is going to change. And you can already see the superficial cracks. Mitch McConnell, who's up there with Melania H., really hates Trump. John Thune, he really hates Trump. And these guys will talk to you privately about how much they hate him. And McConnell's now finally at 82, 83, talking about the hatred openly. You can see it in his public statements and disavowing some of the populist nonsense. So I think that's that side. The other side, the best thing that Donald Trump has going for him, in my opinion, are the Democrats. It's by far the best thing that he has going for him because the level of righteous hypocrisy and the level of 360-degree firing squads where they're shooting at each other from every direction is stunning to me. And they've decided that they don't hear the music on the ground of the United States. It's a center-right country. There's a Christian orthodoxy in the United States that no longer exists in Europe. Travel the United States. There are Christian Orthodox people in the United States. There's a Bible Belt, but then there's also the buckle of the Bible Belt. And these people literally interpret the Bible. And if you don't believe me, ask Larry. I did 71 campaign stops with the president. I'm intellectually curious. I go out and talk to people. Trump's base, are you ready? Trump's base is fiscally liberal and socially conservative. I was on the plane with him once. He said, you're a dummy, Scaramucci. I said, I know I'm a dummy, Mr. Trump, but why am I a dummy? He said, well, you're a Wall Street guy. You're socially liberal and you're fiscally conservative, because that's every Wall Street guy. Aren't you that? I said, yes, I am. He said, you're a dummy. My base is the opposite of that. He understands his base, Larry. He understands who he's talking to. The Democrats have no idea who they're talking to. They're in a cacophony of their own music, and they're working on pronouns and transgender bathrooms, and They're trying to trigger people with wokeism. And the people are like, you know what, I don't like it. Okay, and if you don't believe me, ask Van Jones. When Trump won in 2016, Van Jones, an African-American commentator on CNN who worked for Barack Obama, said, you know what, this is a white lash. This is a white lash. And it was a white lash. And Donald Trump, again, hate him or not hate him, observe and analyze him, he is the Napoleon of the culture war. You remember your biographies of Napoleon? He could see the entire battlefield, and he could anticipate where everybody was moving on the battlefield, and he was 6 steps ahead of everybody. And he was the most brilliant battlefield strategist. Nobody understands the culture war like Donald Trump, and he knows how to trigger people. We have 6, 7, 8, Larry, you'll correct me or fact check me. Maybe there's 10 transgender people that have participated in women's sports in the United States in the last 2 years. Donald Trump made this a cause célèbre like you would not believe. He spent $200 million running advertising about this issue in the swing states. Okay, I find it personally reprehensible. I'm an inclusive person, and I don't care what you do in your personal life. I want you to live a great and happy life. But he knows that that is a triggering cultural event for people in the United States. The fact that the Democrats do not understand that is mind-boggling. I did a podcast with Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. And you've lived in California, so you know the complexity of the state. It's the 4th largest economy in the world. Does everybody understand that? This is an unbelievable economic colossus. Southern California is the idea exporter of American culture through Hollywood and all the great entertainment software down there. We did get Disney World out of there. We also got McDonald's out of there, so take what you will from that. But Northern California, in addition to the amazing school Stanford, where Larry was a part of, you've got Silicon Valley, you have the tech hub of the United States that has transformed our productivity and enhanced our GDP, global GDP. But it's a complex state. There's a lot of poor people in that state. There's homeless people in that state. And it's a battle to govern that state. The left has done a very poor job of brand management of California. The right pillories that state every day. Homeless people, protests, blah, blah, blah. But the state is a great state. And Newsom is running that state. He's doing a decent job of running that state. And when I said to Gavin, what is wrong with you people? Why are you fighting with each other over policy and 𝗕cie nonsense and canceling each other instead of focusing on the broader purpose? Why not open the tent and make this a pro-democracy, pro-American party that believes in the system of America, and open the tent and bring everybody into the tent to defeat Trumpism and this perverse form of Lindberghism that we're looking at? Why not do that? Oh, we can't do that. We're fighting with each other. We've got to go after each other. And when they send AOC and they send Bernie out on the road and they're searching for like a more perfect form of socialism, Trump is laughing at them. Do you guys understand that? He's laughing. Now, you may like Bernie and you may like AOC. They're not winning a general election at this moment in time in the American zeitgeist. That's my opinion. One last point. I think this is an important one. The Harris campaign called me. They said, last summer, you know the president, we'd like you to get involved in debate prep. I said, no problem. I worked with them for 3 weeks on debate prep. I was in Philadelphia the night of the debate for the Harris team, and I went into the spin room to represent the vice president. And she slayed Donald Trump in the debate. I don't know if you saw the debate, but she was very well prepared. She was very articulate in the debate. 2 of her campaign operatives said, okay, Anthony, you've really helped us. The vice president would like you to travel with her on the campaign. Would you be willing to do that for us? Yes, I would, because I understand the existential danger of Donald Trump, and I'd be very happy to do that. Okay, great. 2 days later, I got ghosted. On the 3rd day, my assistant called, listen, he's got a packed schedule. You got to tell us. And then somebody called me back and was very honest with me. No, you can't travel on the plane with the vice president. There are hard left people on the campaign. You once worked for Donald Trump. You're canceled to them. They said NFW, over our dead bodies. You're not coming on the campaign plane. And so I'm really sorry. We think it was a good idea, but the hard left will never accept you because you once worked for Donald Trump. Okay, guys, that's fine. I'm cool with it. I don't need to be accepted by anybody. I'm a very comfortable outsider. But if you don't want to accept me, what are you going to do with the 80 million people that voted for Donald Trump? Are you going to cancel them? Because if you're canceling them, you can't win elections. But if you can bring them into the tent and you can articulate your vision to them, maybe you'll move some of them into your way of thinking, and maybe we can defeat this sinister populism. So I just think it's important for people to understand that the Democrats are in complete and total disarray. And if they don't start fixing things, they're going to lose the midterms. So what do you mean? How could they lose the midterms? Because they're in disarray. And let me tell you something about the Republicans. Watch me. Look at my hands. When it's time to face the music, this is what the Republicans do to each other. Oh, I hate Donald Trump in the primary. He's the candidate? Okay, good. We're all for Trump. The Hillary Clinton voter, when she was a senator from New York running against Barack Obama, she lost the primaries. He was the nominated candidate. 85% of the Hillary Clinton voters crossed over to vote for Barack Obama. You need the crossover vote in your party. The Teddy Kennedy voters didn't cross over, enough of them. Some of them did, but not enough of them for Jimmy Carter. The Bernie Sanders voter felt ripped off at the Democratic National Convention. And they were ripped off, so much so that 𝗕𝗵𝗂𝗰𝘀𝗁, you will remember this, she had to resign because they got caught on the emails gaming the system for Secretary Clinton to win the nomination. And so the crossover voter didn't show up for her. And 22% of the Bernie Sanders voters, they voted for Donald Trump. Does everybody understand that? So stay in disarray, stay in a full-out civil war. You guys are saying that you're the party of the democracy. Okay, but Joe Biden cannot run against Hillary Clinton in 2016. Barack Obama stuffed him in a garbage can. Okay, no problem. We're the party of the democracy. Let's try again in 2020. He wins in 2020, says he's not going to run again. He's impaired. He's sundowning. Your aides and staff tell a lie because they want to stay in power. And I said this to Jake Tapper. You know, I didn't realize it at the time, but there was an obvious tell that Biden was not in charge. You want to hear what it was? Nobody got fired. Nobody got fired. Because in every administration, people get fired or they get replaced. But he was letting everybody control their own little power structures, and they all stayed in their power structures for the whole term, and they were like, oh, this is great. Let's see if we can prop him up with some amphetamines and keep this power structure going while it's weekend at Joe Biden's, right? But you know, that's what it was. But that's what it was. And so now, oh, by the way, we're the party of the democracy, but let's cancel the New Hampshire primary. Let's kick Bobby Kennedy out of this party. We're not going to let him primary Biden. We're the party of the democracy. But Joe Biden is obviously sundowning, so he's going to leave the race, and we're going to anoint somebody. We're not going to do a mini primary. We're the party of the democracy. So, guys, there's a systemic problem on both sides. And you have to understand that if you want to defeat Donald Trump, which I do, I think he's a very dangerous guy, and I think the people behind him from the Heritage Foundation and Project 2025 are even more dangerous than him. Because believe it or not, they're more thoughtful than him, they're more malevolent, and they're more organized. So yes, we have to beat those people. Get your shit together so that we can do that.